Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Let's just jump right into it, shall we? Every single day, long before the rest of the world wakes up, there's this silent, completely invisible battle happening in bedrooms everywhere. You know the one. It's that daily struggle between waking up and staying asleep. And as we're going to explore today, that single, solitary choice you make at the crack of dawn, it doesn't just decide how your morning goes, it actually dictates your entire life's trajectory. Think about the stark contrast at 5 a.m. First, you've got the typical reactive approach. You hit snooze, you wake up in a total panic, you immediately grab your phone, and boom, your brain is instantly flooded with external noise, stress, and everyone else's agendas. But then, contrast that with taking control, being proactive, purposeful. By taking those early moments to intentionally guide your morning, you're literally operating on a higher frequency before the workday even begins. All right, let's get into section 1, the morning battlefield. This brings us to a really crucial realization. We have to stop looking at the morning as just a time of day on the clock. It is, in reality, a psychological battlefield. When that alarm goes off, your discipline, your willpower, and your future success are all being tested at the exact same time. It's basically the ultimate proving ground for the person you're trying to become. And it completely shatters one of our biggest modern misconceptions. You know that lie we all tell ourselves? I'll wake up early and get to work when I feel motivated? Well, the science of habit tells us it's exactly the opposite. Motivation doesn't create consistency. Consistency creates motivation. Taking action, especially when your body is resisting and you absolutely do not feel like it, that's what builds the momentum that eventually generates true motivation.
Moving on to section 2, the alpha state advantage.
Listen, high performers aren't just relying on sheer brute force willpower to win this morning battlefield. They're strategically leveraging a massive biological advantage. Right after you wake up, your brain enters this incredibly unique brainwave frequency known as the alpha state. In this state, your mind is super creative, highly receptive, and incredibly programmable. This is your golden window. You can easily shape your thoughts and beliefs right here. It's exactly why top leaders like Jeff Bezos fiercely protect their early morning hours to make their absolute biggest, most important decisions when their mind is in this peak, uncluttered state. But okay, there is a really dangerous flip side to this programmable state, and this idea captures it perfectly. Whatever inputs your brain receives first thing in the morning actually become the baseline for your entire day. So if you use this highly receptive alpha state to check social media notifications, read stressful emails, or watch the news, you are actively programming your brain for anxiety and distraction. You're completely sabotaging your energy baseline for the whole rest of the day.
Which leads us to section 3, the 1% rule.
So how do we actually use this alpha state to our advantage without getting totally overwhelmed by some massive, complicated routine? Well, we don't need sweeping overnight life overhauls. We just look at the magic of compound interest applied to human behavior, a really powerful concept drawn from atomic habit building. If you could improve your morning routine by just 1% every single day, you don't just get slightly better. Mathematically, you become 37 times better over the course of a single year. On the flip side, if you let your habits slip and get 1% worse every day, your progress gradually drops all the way down to absolute zero. Let's look at what those tiny 1% wins actually look like in the real world. We're not talking about running a marathon before breakfast here. It's just 5 minutes visualizing your goals. It's 10 minutes activating your body with some stretching or light movement. It's 15 minutes reading or learning something new. When you keep these tiny, incredibly manageable promises to yourself every single morning, you build an unbreakable identity of self-trust and rock-solid confidence. Now for section 4, upgrading your environment. Okay, so knowing what to do is really only half the equation. To actually sustain these 1% wins, we have to look at the systems around us. Relying purely on willpower to wake up at 5 a.m. and read a book is just going to lead to failure, because your brain is biologically designed to seek comfort. We literally have to outsmart our own brains. So let's walk through 4 highly actionable steps to hack your morning behavior. Step 1 is radical awareness. Recognize exactly what you do in your first 30 minutes. Step 2, you can't just magically delete a bad habit like phone scrolling. You actually have to replace it with a positive action, like 2 minutes of deep breathing. Step 3 is redesigning your physical space to support the good habit. And step 4, reward yourself immediately after to wire that new pattern into your brain's circuitry. I really want to zoom in on step 3 here, because it's an absolute game changer. Design your environment to eliminate decision fatigue. If you prep your environment the night before, meaning you put the alarm far across the room so you actually have to stand up, you leave your phone in the kitchen, you lay your workout clothes out, you completely remove the friction. You're eliminating the need to make choices when you're tired and weak at 5 a.m. You make discipline virtually automatic. Let's look at Section 5, High Performer Blueprints. Let's see how the absolute titans of industry actually execute this in the real world. We're going to analyze how highly successful figures structure their first 2 hours so we can extract the core principles of an elite routine. When you look at figures like Oprah, Tony Robbins, and Elon Musk, a clear pattern reveals itself. Oprah focuses entirely on centering the mind through silence and meditation. Tony Robbins, he activates the body through intense physical movement to generate energy. Elon Musk locks in focus for deep work on his most crucial decisions. So they all have very different activities, but the fundamental blueprint is identical. They never, ever start their day reacting to someone else's agenda. They invest completely in themselves first. But I do have to give you a quick warning here. There's a real danger in blindly copying a CEO's extreme 4 a.m. ice bath routine. If you try to force a routine that just doesn't fit your actual life, it's only going to lead to burnout and frustration. The smarter approach is extracting their core intention. You aren't trying to become a clone of someone else. You are simply protecting those early hours to build your own best version. Section 6, the mindset shift. You can have the perfect environment and a bulletproof plan, but you still have to deal with this psychological barrier. You know that internal voice whispering sweet excuses in your ear, trying to keep you in your cozy, safe zone, telling you it's perfectly fine to just start tomorrow? Yeah, the hard truth is, the real battle isn't with the alarm clock, it's with your own mind. Your brain's resistance to waking up early or doing hard things is just a natural biological response to preserve energy. But by developing a growth mindset, you can observe that resistance, apply brutal honesty to your own excuses, and actively choose to override them. And one of the most powerful tools to override that internal resistance is visualization. Neuroscience actually shows us that the human brain literally cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined event and reality. Crazy, right? By taking just a few minutes in that morning alpha state to visualize your clear goals, you actually trick your brain into accepting them as reality. It then begins to subconsciously drive your actions to align with that imagined success. True success is always built in the mind before it ever becomes a physical reality. Finally, Section 7, design your perfect morning. All right, it is time to bring everything we've learned together. It's time for you to become the architect of your own morning, tailoring a routine entirely to your unique life goals, your schedule, and your personality. But as you begin designing this, keep this golden rule front and center. Simplicity is power. Please, do not build a complex, exhaustive 10-step checklist for your morning. If your routine feels like a massive chore, you're inevitably going to abandon it, get frustrated, and slide right back into your old habits. A sustainable, simple routine will beat a complex one every single time. Drawing inspiration from frameworks like the Miracle Morning, you really just need to focus on these 3 simple steps: mind, body, and focus. Spend a little time in silence or meditation to center your mind. Do some physical movement to generate energy in the body. Then, channel that energy into deep focus on your single most important goal for the day. It's that simple. It is a highly accessible, foundational blueprint for absolute success. But hey, we all know life gets unpredictable. You'll travel, you'll get sick, you'll have late nights. That is exactly why you absolutely must build adaptability into your system. The routine isn't a rigid set of tasks that you fail at if you miss a single day. It is an identity you step into. If your morning gets cut short, just do 2 minutes of stretching and 1 minute of deep breathing. Maintain the identity, even when life completely disrupts the schedule. Which brings us to our final thought, and really the single most important question of this entire explainer. When that alarm goes off tomorrow morning in the pitch dark, and you are faced with the choice between the comfort of your bed and the growth of your future, stop focusing on your to-do list. Instead, ask yourself this one powerful question: who do you want to become today? Are you the person who passively reacts to the world, or the person who intentionally shapes their own destiny? The choice is entirely yours. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.